evil comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning to some and good afternoon to others. This guy always wants attention when I'm at my computer. Because he loves me. Good to see you, Patricia. Welcome. Good to see you. Man, what a week. Am I right or am I wrong? That was just a weird week. I'm glad it's over. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So, yay, Saturday. Yay for the weekend, right? This morning we're going to talk about expectations. Hi, Kathy. Good to have you back, Kathy. Kathy from Canada. People are already ahead of me here. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. And of course, welcome to Daily Trudge. I do this every day, or I try to. I usually get it done. It isn't very consistent with time, but neither is my sleeping. So it's just kind of how it works. I'd love to do them at the same time every day, but it gets tough to do that. So I still try and get it done in the morning, but sometimes I don't get up till late. Anyway, we got a lot of new people in the group. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. 28 new people this week. That's pretty good for us. Our group has always been about slow and steady intentional building. And not many people leave our group. I don't have to really kick people out. I don't have to, and that's what I love. And see, when you do things intentional and you take your time, it works out. It works out. That group runs itself. I don't do much. I continuously add new stuff to it, more information, pertinent information for the members. But other than that, we've got a good set of people posting each week, and more coming up. And what I like is that, I'll give you an example. There's one that I approved it. It was a little too religion-y for me. So what? Because everybody's going to get this differently. And it's not my group. It's our group. And that's how I treat it. I treat that group the same way that I run the group with the 12 traditions. That's how I do it. And that's why it works out very well. So let's get to expectations. And this is in the daily reflection. Actually, it's in One Day at a Time. It's a Hazelden book. I'm very big on Hazelden. I love Hazelden stuff. So let's kind of get to it. Today I'll try to settle for less than I wish it were possible. I don't know that I can settle for less. But I'm willing, and I'll try, and I'm going to try it, and be willing not only to accept it but to appreciate it. And that's. I'm glad I've never really was a materialistic person. I'm glad I didn't make a lot of money before this, because I might have a hard time with this. But I'm used to being broke. So used to it that I'm actually working on my mindset right now. We're getting there. Oh no, there's a balancing in there. Ego for some, yeah. Expectation is definitely ego, and they're talking about exactly that in the book right now. Good catch. Today I will not expect too much of anyone, especially myself. Now, before I get more into this, let's talk about expectations, because there's different types of expectations. And I'm going to start out with what's called a reasonable expectation. That means it's reasonable, it's within. Okay. What's a reasonable expectation? When you're done going to the bathroom, flush the toilet. That's a reasonable expectation. Somebody hires you to do something, there's an expectation there. And you're going to have to deal with expectations in your life. Right? Now, they aren't always bad. Here again, it's how we utilize it and what our intentions are. For the most part, expectations are not going to fit us very well. They're just not. Because now, okay, now what I was doing is I was talking about the expectation of somebody else. Now I'm talking about your expectations of other people. Do you expect other people to supply you with things like love, prestige, power, maybe a feeling of belonging? Right? Those are expectations that we put on people, and when they don't live up to them, we feel like they have failed us. And it happens every single time for one reason and one reason only, that they're human beings. They're human beings just like you, and all human beings make mistakes. As expectations can run you into loneliness. Sound familiar? Remember that loneliness? Do you remember it? What was it from? Expectations. Somebody, I don't know. Because it says Facebook, and I need to put this up there. But whoever's on it, maybe you could just take over for me today. I love it when everybody's on sync. It makes it a lot easier for me, because when you guys put stuff up there, I can comment on it and we can keep going. I will always try and cover everything that I can, and I will do everything I can to make sure that when you leave here, you don't feel like shit. We're supposed to provide hope here, right? We're working through our stuff. We're working through problems. This is camaraderie, and we need camaraderie. We do. Right? It feels nice when you get to celebrate yourself, right? It does. But we got to keep those days where they belong. My 7 years isn't for like 9 more months. There will be nothing celebrating my time in sobriety between now and then. I don't need it. I don't need it. Because my feelings are my own. I take ownership of all my feelings. I need to. So the big thing about expectations is they turn into what's called resentments. And actually, this all starts with fear. Fear leads to expectations, and expectation leads to anger. Anger leads to resentment, and then you're dead. Because resentment is the number one killer. No, it doesn't say killer. I'm sorry. It is the number one offender. That's what it says in the book. Much different word. Because one is death, the other one's a slip or a relapse. Okay, big difference. So let's get to the rest of the book here. I'll try to remember that contentment comes from gratefully accepting the good that comes to us, and not from being furious at life because it's not better. Do I realize the difference between resignation and realistic acceptance? So what about the expectations we put on ourselves? Let's cover that. Because we're not very nice to ourselves, man. We are not. We beat up on ourselves all the time. We call ourselves names. We expect all this crap from ourselves when really the only one that can determine our worth is God. Okay? When I determine my worth, I cut myself short. Okay. So even today with what we're reading, we're saying, hey, can we give up a lot of this stuff so that we can have contentment? Okay. Or what they put here was, do I realize the difference between resignation? Resignation means just giving over. I give up. That's resignation. Go ahead and do it. I'm done arguing with you. I don't want to. Okay. That's not a boundary. That's a resignation. I don't want to deal with it ever. Leave me alone. Okay. Realistic acceptance. Accepting some things in your life. Okay. Number one, we're going to have to accept the fact that maybe we don't really know who we are yet. Right? Some of us do. Some of us are still searching. I know who I am today. That may be a different person next week, but I know who I am today because I look at myself a lot. I check my intentions every time I do something. I have to. I have to. I do too much talking to not do it any other way. I've got to have humility in there. Man, doesn't this really sound like it's getting tough? It is. Looking at yourself and being honest with yourself will be the hardest thing you're ever going to do in your life. Right? It will be. So far, it was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. And um, who am I? Oh, I get what you were saying. I get it. Because I was just saying I know who I am. You know what? Give me a second. I'll answer that. And I'll do the best that I can on it. Right? It's a fantastic question. It is. All right. So expectations, and I will get to it. I just want to read the rest of this. All right. May not set my sights unrealistically high. Expect too much. You know what? Go through the day and just don't expect anything. Just don't. You know what? I'm going to go to a meeting. I'm going to get what I get. Yay. And be happy about that. Remember, you're allowed to go to meetings now. Now you get to actually jump in your car without fear of the police. You're a different person now. Start acting like it. Right? And get rid of those expectations. Just get rid of them. For today. Just for today. Right? And watch what happens. We all carry a set of expectations. I do too. There again, it's what we do with it and how we react to it. You know what? I'll give you a Grady. Nah, we're going to go through this. May I look backwards long enough to see that my self-set impossible goals were the trappings of my addiction. Too often, I ended up halfway there, confronted by my own failure. Those foiled again, I have failed again feelings came monumental excuses to give in to my compulsion when blanketed my miseries. May I avoid that sick old pattern? May I be realistic? What was that again? We do this a lot, right? This morning I woke up and I felt like I was just waiting for the next shoe to drop. I need to get some water. And I had to sit down and take a serious look at some things. I reached out to a friend, maybe not the best way, you know, but I have this fear. No, it's not a fear. Okay. Then I'm gonna kind of tell on myself here because this is what I go through. I am so used to everybody leaving that it's hard for me to accept that I actually have friends sticking around. Kind of weird. So maybe that's what I need to accept and just let be what it is today. Right. That's the thing that maybe I need to focus on because when I woke up, I felt like I lost all my friends. It's from my nightmares. I don't even want to talk about this. No. I have PTSD and my nightmares are horrible. It's every night. I have drinking dreams every night. I am tortured every night. I am beset by people that just fucking hate me because I didn't leave a very good track record. So, and I'm still going all through. I relive those traumatic moments, and I can't help that. That's not a resentment. Those aren't resentments. I've taken care of my resentments. Today I remember good is good enough. Or how about we take the, um, you know, it's perfect the way it is. I don't need perfection. It's perfect the way it is. Fine the way it is. I don't need to. I don't need to do anything with it. Why? Because it's not doing what I think it should be doing. That doesn't. I don't get to take that into account. I ask God what to do with those things, and He always answers. He always answers. He always answers through other people. All right. So it's a hard day for me to do this, but I'm going to try. Who are you? Who am I? Above anything, I would probably consider myself a recovery personality. I like to talk. I have a lot of knowledge. I've been in the program a long time. Not in the, let me describe. My first meeting was 1984, and it was because my mom had sewed up. I went to the Dragon's Den, and soon I was in Alateen. I'm not going to really cover that part, but what I will say about Alateen and doing all of that is it saved my life later on because number one, I knew where to go when I was ready, and I stayed away from hard drugs because I already knew I was an alcoholic. I was just like my mom. I knew, but before I was like 18, I mean, it had been driven into my head already. So I'm a person who's been in therapy a long time, but I'm also a person that never got to enjoy his childhood. So I try and lead by example. So when I come on here, the reason that I started the Daily Trudge, and it used to be called Closed Mouth Friend, then it turned into the Daily Reflections after like a week, and then Reflections was not quite what we were doing; it didn't fit, and then Gary came up with the Daily Trudge, and that's what we use now. So what I did, the reason that I started doing this is because I was going through anxiety and PTSD, and I wanted other people to see it. And some people got upset with me. They're like, you shouldn't do that to yourself. I'm like, no, people need to see that this happens. Then they need to see how we work through it. So if you go back 3 years, 3.5 years, you're going to see a much different Daily Trudge. Okay? Because I was hurting. I let everybody watch me go. I let others watch what I did so they could do it too. I do things like I got cut off from my Medicaid, which means all of you did too, for our therapists. So I went out and found a group of therapists that will always take Medicaid. I don't do things just for me. I do them for everybody. And I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of ways. There are multiple paths to recovery. There's 4 of them, maybe 5. Somebody once told me it was 47. No. I'm not here to reinvent the wheel. Actually, the wheel has already been invented. It is in this book, and there's nothing wrong with it. Every answer I need is in this book. Sometimes it tells me to seek outside help. So I have done that. I see a therapist once a week. I utilize EMDR. There again, leading by example. That's what I do. And I do have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of experience. I mean, I've drank with kings and slept with bums, man. I've run the gamut in my life. So I understand each one, including being homeless. I was homeless at the age of 18. I know what it's like. I know the loneliness. I understand the loneliness. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be alone anymore. So, who else am I? I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a brother. And I'm a successful member of society. I don't know if successful, because that makes it sound like I've reached something and I haven't. Okay, and that's what it's all about. Trudge. We're trudging along. That's why we trudge together. We do this together. And that's why I'm here. I hope that answers your question. Thank you for giving me a very valuable question. That was a fantastic question. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I got 1 minute to get to my noon meeting, so I'm gonna go hit that. Thank you, everybody, for being here. That just made me feel really good today. I didn't see everybody's names. I know that we have sorry, my brain. We had Kathy. You know what? I apologize that I didn't do it the way that you wanted, but I'm going to stick with what I had. If people want to label me, they can label me. I'm sorry, but my brain just doesn't work like that. Now, I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong, because we all have our own experience, right? We all have our own experience. So I love this. I really do. But you can't ask me a question to set me up. I'm not okay with that. Right? So I am what I am. I'm a recovery personality, and I love the fuck out of you. All right? We can all, you know what? Everybody gets it. That's what recovery is about. If they want to work it that way, that's great. That's fantastic, because you know what? It's working for them. And if they're happy, it's none of my business, right? None of my business. All right. Thank you guys for being here. And don't think I'm upset about that. I'm not. I am thinking about it, and I appreciate it. All right. I love you guys. Peace out.